Welcome to Charmed Life, a radio show discussing spirituality, magic, and the unconditional love of the universe. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm your host, Tricia Carr. Thank you for being here with me today. Before I get into the show, I want to tell you about a few things that I have going on. First of all, every other Sunday, the next one being May 6th, I am holding an intuitive and mediumship development class that anyone can join because it is online. We hold it live together on a Zoom video call. And so if you're interested in this, then why don't you go over to, actually the best way to do it is to go to my Facebook page or group, and you can find that by facebook.com/Tricia Carr Charm, or if you want to join my group, that is facebook.com/groups/Charmed Life Love, and it is actually the pinned post. It's a class that I hold, like I say, holding every other Sunday. It's $44. It is like a development circle. It is coaching, live coaching, and I will be doing lessons, and also will be coaching you as you practice your gifts with other students. It's an amazing experience. This is basically how I really made a lot of strides in my reading and different healing abilities. And so I hold this space in a way that really will help you to develop exactly what you need to do to move into your abilities in a more evidential way. So do go check that out. Like I say, it's best to find it on my Facebook page at this time. We'll put it up on the website sometime soon. I also I have registration open for my Empowered Empath and Highly Sensitive Intuitive, and you can find that at Tricia Carr Charm /empath. We will begin the program mid-May, and there's going to be a lot of augmentation to how I did this program before. In case you heard me talk about it before, I'm going to be bringing in there a lot of dynamics about the relationships that empaths and other highly sensitive and intuitive sensitives hold with the rest of their life and the world in general. So there will be live lessons, live coaching. It is a really full, robust 6-week coaching program with a lot of other passive material that you self-pace on. So go check that out, please. That is, again, triciacarrcharm.com/empath. And finally, I would like to tell you that I am holding a brand new community on Patreon. This is very exciting. I'm super excited about this. Patreon.com/Tricia Carr. And I have all these different amazing levels of patronage that you can join. And one of them is actually we have a live group meditation every month. That first one, or the one that's the next one, I should say, depending on when you're listening to this, is this Monday. And so it's going to be around the full moon a Monday around the full moon every month. And we get together and I hold this live activation or meditation. And then afterward, I produce it often with sound design that is specifically designed to activate or open a certain particular intention. And then I send that MP3 to you. And then there's also a group meeting every single month that will be around the new moon. And we just get together on Zoom and we hang out and we fellowship. And maybe I'll teach, maybe I'll do a little reading. We will see how that goes every month. And so go check that out because I'm super excited how engaged we can be by being together on that Patreon platform. Again, patreon.com/Tricia Carr. All right. I also want to say hello to the Lightworkers Lab. This is the online spiritual community that is founded by my friend Crystal Ann Compton. You can find us on Facebook, and that is facebook.com/group/The Lightworkers Lab, or just search The Lightworkers Lab in Facebook and the group that comes up. I am a moderator and a teacher, and we have all kinds of amazing development and supportive fellowship, all kinds of I can't say enough about the Lightworkers Lab. So I hope you will go and find the Lightworkers Lab. And again, a big happy hello to the Lightworkers Lab because we do broadcast this directly there every single week. All right. Finally, it is time to start this show. It's very exciting. The two gentlemen that are on my show today are the hosts of Realms of the Supernatural podcast. And he said Andy. I should call him Andy. Andy Mchugh is a healer and a psychic medium. And Lee Solway is the co-host and the podcaster for this really cool podcast. I love it. The Realms of the Supernatural. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Pleasure to be on.
Oh well, it's such an honor to have you both. It's and of course you're joining us from across the pond, so thank you for making the time.
Absolutely no problem.
Yeah. So looking forward to coming, won't we?
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, why don't we go ahead and talk about your journey or the podcast? Let us know the kind of work that you're doing and let the audience know about what's up with you two, please.
Okay, well, essentially it's a paranormal podcast. We deal, it's predominantly with the paranormal, although we do stray into various other subjects and
cryptids and
cryptozoology, mystery, occasional conspiracy. But it's all came about a couple of years ago now. We started the podcast. It was under a different name. We recently changed the name, haven't we? Because varying different reasons, but it all came about due to the fact we both experienced paranormal events in our lives, and which compelled us, I guess, because we start out by listening to stuff online, YouTube, etc., and then I thought, well, we've got stories to share, so we'll start a podcast
as well to share,
and and see if there's other people out there like-minded who find it interesting, maybe. And so far it's proved that people do.
Yes, very much. I think that the idea of supernatural or paranormal, or however you look at it, really serves as a catalyst to open you up to the fullness of who you really are as a spiritual soul, I guess you would say. Is this the experience? And tell us about some of those experiences that sort of opened you up. Would you say these experiences sort of catalyzed for you an awakening or some kind of new full healing experience?
Well, my personal experience, I'd say yes and no, because it sounds strange to say that, but the first experience I really had was a UFO encounter sighting, and which I believe was an alien craft. And do you want me to go into the experience? Do you want me to tell you the story?
Oh, I think so. So. Jarvis wants you to.
Okay.
No, get out of here.
So you'll understand why I say it was an alien craft. But essentially what happened is there's three of us. There's me, my brother, and a friend called Gary. And we was probably about 14, 15. And we used to play this game. It's like do tag over in the States. It's a similar game, but it was team-based. So it'd be two teams. And we decided this night that we was going to dig a tunnel so that the other team wouldn't be able to catch us. They wouldn't know where we'd gone. So we're there late at night. It's probably about 8 o'clock. It's dark. And we're on this park digging this hole under this fence. Brother's laid back on this tree because he wants no part in digging a hole.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's laid back.
No, that sounds terrible.
Indeed. So he's laid there. We're doing all the graft. He's laid there watching the stars. Clear night. Moon was out, nice and full. And he says to us, "Hey, that star looks a bit big." And we looked up, and it was big, but just a star. So we carried on digging. About, I'd say 15 minutes later, he says, "That star's moving." Okay, so we look up, and the star was. You had to look at it. If you took your eye off it, you wouldn't see, but it was actually moving. And so we all stood there. We all stood watching this star, and it just moved, and then like a click, and it was a craft. It was like, you're familiar with the old film reels?
Yes.
Well, it was a figure of 8 shape, but 2 film reels, if you like.
Oh, cool.
Underneath, it was it had no lights on it, but had a sort of like oil on water. That hue that you get. Yeah. Well, that's what it was giving off. There was no lights as such, but it was shimmering, if you like.
Yes.
And then it sort of moved off. But I remember because we was all stood there watching this, and like I said, I've said before, but we would still be stood there today if other guy didn't want there who saw it, because we shouted to this fellow across the way, like he was walking his dogs, and we said, "Mister, what's that?" And he looked up, and as soon as he saw it, he just took off running. He was running. Dog. His dogs were following him like that.
Yeah, well, his dog was going first,
so obviously at that point we started running. So we chased after him, but there was no fear, there was no jeopardy, none of that. It was just literally because he run, we run. But like I say, going back to your original question, that should have really compelled me at that point to get more into this. But the problem was that memory didn't surface for another 6 years or so.
So did it went away instantly?
Yeah, I believe so, because I can't remember having a conversation with my brother or my friend the next day, or the following weeks. Like I say, I was just watching something on TV, maybe 7 years later, and this thing came on TV. It was a similar situation. It was an old lady had seen a similar craft, and I was watching it, and it just come straight back into my mind. And I got on the phone to my brother, rung him up, says, "You got to come and watch this." He came and watched it. He was sitting there watching it with me, and he went, "That's what we saw."
So had he had a memory block about it too?
Yeah.
Oh, but then so it was jogged by seeing this. Do you think there was like a Men in Black situation that they came later and erased the memory for you? Or do you know?
Yeah, I wish there was, but no, I can't honestly remember anything like that. It was just, like your mind, puts these things away, if it's a car crash, that kind of stuff. I don't know if it was attributed to that, like more of a shock thing, and the mind just put it to the back of your mind. But I really don't know. All I know is that as soon as I saw it, I remembered it, and he sat there and he just reeled off exactly what happened, what it looked like. He don't want to talk about it anymore, but so I don't know. So again, like I say, so that led into the future experiences. But between sort of that time and the time that came to my memory, I'd actually seen a shadow man in the contravening years there. Like,
was the shadow man? Did you feel fearful and uneasy when you saw the shadow man?
No. And that's the strangest thing about it.
Well, I'll tell you why if you're interested.
Yeah, please. I'd love to know more about them because I'm fascinated.
The reason I say is because there is, if you look up shadow man or shadow people, that is, then you'll find that shadow people are, basically really negative energy. Maybe they're earthbounds that have gotten really, maybe it's kind of like demonic or whatever. So that is a thing. But also just sometimes when you see spirit, and particularly some earthbounds, they come in shadowy. And so it's not exactly if you look up shadow man or shadow people, they're two distinct things. Just sometimes, especially if they're earthbound, they can't really get in the light spectrum of materialization for you to see much more than shadow. Does that make sense? So it could have been just a very basic, kind of mundane, just neutral person who didn't cross over, just a ghost. Which I know for a lot of people, probably not a lot of people at this show necessarily. Yeah, exactly. Who was not negative at all. The thing with real shadow people is that the energy is so intense and so intensely scary that that's what you experience right away. It's almost like it's not necessarily even your own fear. It's just because that's the energy the frequency that they are. So I don't know if that resonates with you or if that helps you at all. Something to think about.
more questions than answers, isn't there? But I mean, what I would say about it, I mean, like I say, I've looked into a few of these, and you're right in majority of cases. But this was weird because I didn't get the impression that it was, it used to be a human, if you like. I got the impression this was a thing all on its own.
Maybe it was thought form then. Maybe it was thought form energy that still couldn't materialize that much on the light spectrum for you to be able to see.
Possibly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, as much as it can do, because there's still, But I mean, I must point out that this shadow man did attack my friend.
Oh.
Okay, so it did. When I saw it, we was walking up the stairs. She was in front of me. We was off to bed, and it reached its arms out and pushed her, tried to push her down the stairs.
Oh my gosh!
Before running off with the landing. And
they usually leg it at a certain time.
Yeah. So.
Did your friend feel something like physically, as if?
Yeah, she fell back on me. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, I had to catch her. She was falling down the stairs. So
well, I just had an encounter with a poltergeist day before yesterday. And it was interesting. I was actually I was just outside of my bedroom, which has a door to the outside. So I was walking back in, and my cat it's an all glass door. My cat was just on the inside of the door. And as I looked at the door handle before I approached it, it was outside because I have very strong boundaries. So things can't really get in my house. I mean, things that are even positive, you got to I have business hours, and you're not allowed in unless I welcome you in specifically. My guides, they're around me all the time. They're welcome. But it was like I saw a holographic hand and the handle of the door holographically, like the actual physical one stayed stationary, but I saw a hand and the holograph like moving the door down. And and then I was just like, my attitude about it was just like it didn't even startle me at all. I was just like, no. But my kitty on the other side, he was like, whoa. He jumped back.
The cat knew. The cat.
He didn't like it. Yeah. And
there was no noise. It was just.
Yeah. No, there was no noise. It was totally holographic.
Yeah,
but
so
it was
the cat
interesting.
picked up the sense then.
He saw it physically. Like he saw it standing. I just saw the hand and then I took the doorknob like right away. I was like, no. And I just walked in. And as I walked in and my cat like jumped back and I just said to him, yeah, I saw it too. My husband's like, what? As he always hears me talking to the cats about what we're mutually seeing. Anyway, that's really fascinating. So
yeah, mine was, well, mine's never stopped. Mine's been since I was a child. I've seen spirit come in my house. I've seen him outside. I played with them as well. I played games with them when I was young in my bedroom. They was the good ones. They usually, the not so good ones came to me at night time, which made me a bit more frightened as I was growing up, because they used to try to pull away my sheets, and try to, and that kind of frightened me a bit, quite a lot. I even physically felt their breath on my neck, as they was. Because I shared a bedroom with my two brothers, but they never woke up. It was always me wake up at a certain time in the night, and again, they tried anything to get my attention, and it was. But I wouldn't say it was evil. I think it was just a bit mischievous.
Sure.
When you're psychic, the light comes on. The light comes on. They see that light, and I know. I told you, didn't I? It's quite funny this, but it's truth. I'll tell you now, Tricia, it's truth. There's only one safe place in my house where they could not get me, and I used to sleep in this place, and it was in the toilet. At night time when they used to try and get me out of bed, I used to head for the toilet, close the toilet door with my sheet and the pillow, and I used to fall asleep, and they could not come in that toilet.
Well. Jarvis is like, why? Well, I think it's because you believed it and you held sovereignty there. You felt you held your your strength there, and you felt your boundaries very strongly because as we know, we can't experience anything with which we have unless we have a like frequency with it. And they frighten children pretty easily. Children are. Yeah. It was interesting. A student said, if children are just high vibrational, how come they get afraid of, earthbounds and ghosts and everything? And I said, well, ho. Children are naturally high vibrational. We have to talk about what that means. Now, sure, they are purer, but it's a pretty scary life. So they are really oriented to fear a lot of their life. So, I mean, it's terrifying coming from the spirit, beautiful heaven, basically, and then being very fragile in this fragile instrument. So, do you think that's why, Andy, that you felt strong there?
I think I adjusted quite well. It's just my mum and dad got a bit frightened. I was going a bit too loudly, so they tried to put me on drugs. I used to go to psychiatrists and stuff like that. But I was quite normal, like a normal child. But I saw things that other children didn't see. And as I was growing up, it kind of. I think in the end, I just turned over and said, just leave me alone. That's it. Just leave me alone. And in the end, they kind of left me alone.
There you go. Yeah, there's that sovereignty again. Yeah.
I mean, just to put in there, I want to get your view on this. I mean, I had a theory about because we was talking about children seeing ghosts. And I wonder if it almost coincided with when the skulls form and you get the plates. Totally forgot the name of them now. The stitches lines. Yeah. Well, as that's forming, obviously, as it calcifies over, and there's a hole there for I think almost into the what was it, about 8, 9?
Is it? For that. Oh, I didn't know it was that long, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not solid until you're into your teens, but obviously there's a hole there for a few years, and then obviously it fills up. But it's obviously a thin layer, and I wondered if once that shut completely, I wonder if that was blocking. The third eye, if you will, blocking the energy or whatever, actually resonating in that third eye. So the older you get, the less intuitive you are.
I think it's the mostly when you go to school, that's when the curtain starts to come down a bit.
that
You know, the brainwashing, a child is seeing things, and the teacher says, "Oh no, it's all in imagination. Don't believe it." And the child says, "Okay, the teacher must be right."
Sure.
So then it starts coming down a bit, and you start losing that kind of sight.
On the physical side of it, I mean, I hadn't ever considered whether the closing over, the hardening of the skull had to do with it. I would say on the physical side, what could definitely be impacting it is the stuff that is in our diet that is toxifying that does calcify the third eye. So we have fluoridated toothpaste and water, just to name one thing. And fluoride will calcify the third eye, the actual pineal gland, the literal physical instrument. And also, like Andy points out, that, being told to shut it down, but also just, it's totally natural for us to orient our priorities to figuring out how to survive physically. That is a soul intention, is to come down and be physical and survive. So your blueprint and your sole purpose is actually oriented to physically surviving. So you're a fragile being, physically fragile, and it's like, well, I can't depend on mom and dad forever because they're also flawed. So I better start figuring out how to manage this on my own. So you prioritize and start paying attention to society and relationships that are physical. And then I think it's the good thing about that journey too is that in that path, when you do kind of whether you shut things down or not, but if you shut it down to some degree, then you can focus on working out some stuff about the ego and becoming less fearful and becoming stronger. If you feel strong in the physical life, then you're going to be able to feel stronger working in the realms of spirit, I think. Does that make sense? I mean, I opened up much later too, at least totally consciously. And this is a story I've told before, but literally when I was about 21 years old, and a colleague was talking about doing mushrooms, and she said, "Oh, it's really amazing. You see all these colors and everything." And I was like, "That sounds great." And then she's like, and then I saw all these fairies and gnomes, and I said, "Fuck that." I said, no. Yeah. I literally said to her, "I am white knuckling this reality right now, trying to not see fairies and gnomes." Nuh-uh. But now, at 44, I teach classes about how to have relationships with fairies and gnomes, literally to be able to see them. So I wasn't wrong. I was trying to not see fairies and gnomes because at that time I was a very fearful oriented person. The life was very scary for me in 2021. So I didn't need to add in their other dimensions.
I mean, I think it's, as long as you're strong in yourself, and if you get, my house is always spirits coming in and out, and they're all doing something. And my wife goes nuts, and I just try and calm her down. So there's passing through. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But I think you've got to be strong and say, "Whoa, goodbye, not today." And they do go. They will go. Yes.
I'm interested. You mentioned
not calling your guide. He'll take them out.
You mentioned the fairies. I'm just interested in is the majority of fairy cases negative? Because I saw what I believe was a fairy when I was younger, and that was definitely negative.
What was I'd love to answer that question. It's one of my favorite questions. I would love to hear about what you saw, though. I'd like to hear your experience before I answer.
Okay. Well, this was, and I think I must have been, and this is another one where I sort of put it out of my mind, I must have been imagining it, whatever. But I was about 10, 11 years old, something like that. And it was during the school holidays. I do remember that. And I came downstairs, and we have our stairs is like, there's a door on the stairs. We call it a cubby hole. It's just a void under the stairs. It's got a door in it. You just put the Hoover in there and stuff like that. And this was full with stuff. So there was the Hoover, and there was all stuff in there. And I went up past it, and the door was rattling just a little bit. And obviously the door is an inner door. It shouldn't be rattling. So I opened it, and inside the door was a little boy about my age, dressed in robes of what you might imagine a wizard to wear, the hat and robes with stars on, moons, probably purple and yellow. And just like the gnome. He looked, but he was showing himself as a 10-year-old boy, right? So he starts talking to me, and it was general conversations. And the really weird thing is that I didn't run away. It's almost like I felt like I was on some level with this thing. I'd maybe known him previously. Anyway, he starts talking to me, general conversation. shut the door, and I go out and play. Next day, same thing. And this probably went on for maybe 5, 6, 7 days, something like that. On the 6th, 7th day, walking past, doors rattling. This is early morning before I get my breakfast. Walking past, doors rattling, open the door. This boy's there. Now, I should point out at this point that although he's showing me as a young boy, from his midriff down, from his waist down, was invisible because obviously there was stuff, debris in there, the Hoover and stuff. So he couldn't actually physically be standing in there. So I was only see him from the waist up. He's talking to me, and then he's never done this before, and he offers me. I describe it as a test tube. That's about the easiest way to describe it. A test tube with some liquid in, and he says, "Oh, go and drink that." And I said, "No, you're all right, And he said, "No, go on, drink that. You need to drink this." And I said, "No, I don't want it. I'm off to get breakfast." He said, "No, you need to drink it." And I said, "No." And I started backing up at that point, and he got really aggressive, and he said, "You must drink this now." And he tried to lunge for me, and I backed up. And with that, his face changed from a little boy to what I can only describe as, best described as like a gremlin. You remember the Gremlin movies?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
His face sort of morphed into that with rows and rows of teeth. And like I say, he was lunging at me. I just slammed the door shut. I remember holding the door for an hour, but it was probably only 30, 40 seconds. The door was vibrating. And then the door stopped. There was nothing, no noise, anything. I went out to play, and then he never, that's the one, yeah.
That's the one.
And he never, but yeah, like more rows of teeth than that. But
that's a critter.
He never showed himself again. So
interesting. Well, now, why is it that you have a strong feeling that it was elemental energy or nature spirit energy? I'm not saying it's not. I'm just curious what made you land on that rather than something else that was cryptozoological or shapeshifter or earthbound astral somebody that was sophisticated.
I guess it's just because, looking into this stuff as I got older and older, I started seeing these stories about, going way back into the, to folklore where people had encounters what they call the grey folk or the fairy folk. Okay. And they describe them a little bit similar to what I described, but maybe a little bit, well, actually they describe them more often than not, they're looking like the grey aliens. But that's another subject. But they actually describe a similar thing where they'd offer you food or drink, and they used to disguise it with what they call glamour, which is where they get word glamorous. And this, that's what they actually describe the fairy folk looking like in an island and that. But they'd be like twigs and worms and all this kind of stuff, but they disguise it with glamour. And you'd see it as a beautiful banquet, and you'd go up, and if you was to eat some of that, you'd become a fairy folk, and there was no way back. And so obviously reading them stories years later, I thought maybe that's what he was trying to get me to do. If I had taken that drink, would I have become, another missing child? Or
Right. That's a very good point. Well, okay. So let me answer you then the question you asked me. Basically, so the elemental energy, whether fairy or any of the Davic realm, I mean, I only work with very, very, very positive ones. And sometimes at most they might be a little, like one guy in particular that I was working with was just a bit impatient, and he was very helpful, but he was kind of like a type A impatient, was just like, hey, listen to me. Listen, do this, you know what I mean? Like, but he wanted to be helpful, but he wasn't super warm, fuzzy. So the best way I can answer that question, the way that I like to answer it is, can you imagine what the realm of the Fae think of the humans? And if you said, if one fairy said, are the humans good or are the humans negative? It's like, well, some of them actually kidnap you and would do horrible things to you. So, you know what I mean? Like they're at least as, in all of the realms of non-physical or semi-physical, as the elementals are. The elementals tend to be, they are made up of 1 to 3 of the elements, but just not all 4. And that's why they might be partially seeming physical and not exactly on the same light spectrum as we, and not as dense. So that's what I think, is that they're at least as varied as humans, and that's pretty easy. How good are humans? Some of us are really pretty horrible. And there is definitely a contentious relationship with a lot of the fairy or the elemental realm, because they are in charge. Their entire existence is about keeping Gaia. And who is ruining Gaia? who is devastating, who is like so unconscious about our relationship with the earth. And so a lot of them are extremely angry and maybe at war in the way that some countries of, humans are at war with one another because of some history and all that kind of stuff. But others are very, very compassionate and much, much more ascended and can be patient with us and can really help us. Especially the Davic realm, they might step back and they're not as, again, maybe not as warm fuzzy, but some of them will be. But in my experience, they aren't necessarily as chatty or, they don't have the same exactly, I would say, empathy about what we do as, say, our spirit guides who have been human do, because they get the gig of being a human and they're guilty of the things we do as well, in their past. So anyway, does that make sense? Does that?
Yeah. I think they only can use the energy that we give them anyway.
Yeah.
So if it's good energy, they can use the good energy. If you give them bad energy, they have still to use it.
Right. Very, very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. They only can use the energy what's given to them from Mother Earth. So. And
since it seemed physical, he seemed physical mostly, but then partially non-physical. It does make sense, logical sense too, that it would be elemental or something like that. Not necessarily all 4 of the elements. It actually seems like he was lacking water. Does it seem like maybe he didn't have the water element? If you can discern.
I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to say, really.
Did you tell your parents about that?
No, they wouldn't believe me anyway. But
it's a good job you saw through them, though, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, I don't remember actually telling anybody at the time because, like I say, it was a summer. I know it's a summer holidays because I know shortly after that I was out playing with my friends. And again, like I say, if a friend offered me a drink 5 minutes after that encounter, I would have took the drink off him, no problem.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I did not want to take that drink from him. It's just instinctive. It was just really weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, you probably had some good spirit guides whispering in your ear, the ones that care for you. Actually, I want to tell everyone that we will open the phone lines 323-524-2599 because I think you two have really fascinating experiences, and I'm sure people would love to ask some questions. Yeah. Again, 323-524-2599. Or if you have experiences anywhere along these lines and you want to share them, I think we would love to hear about them. And so at some point, though, both of you, both Andy and Lee, these experiences began to inspire because now you're on the side of being past. Definitely there's nothing wrong with being in the experience of being fascinated with a phenomenon, but you're definitely on the side of, I would say, healing and growth and inspiration. This is what it seems like your work is about.
I try and sum it up more like we're just trying to get this message out there that these things do happen. Mm-hmm. They are part of our reality. Mm-hmm. I know we try and shut it away and, all the dogma and everything, but they do actually exist. And, we're trying to get that message across that, we want to present ourselves as, we're not just doing a show because we're interested in this stuff. We're doing a show because we've experienced this, this crazy stuff, if you want to call it that. And that's what we want. We want people to come on and share their experiences and in a place and environment where they feel safe to do that, because we know that this is, is fair for ridicule. If you mention this to 9 out of 10 people, you're going to get ridiculed for it.
If we can get through to one person, then we've done our job. But again, it's because me and Lee we've both been through this, and I still see spirit, they still see me, and I still communicate mostly by mind now. I see them only as an outshape, but it's mostly mind. I can hear what they're saying. It's a bit, it was about 2 years ago. This was quite inspiring to me. Now, it's usually only female voices I hear in my head. Oh. Never male. I don't know why. I don't know. It's usually female. And it was about 2 years ago. I was laid on my bed. I wasn't thinking of anything. It was just a normal day, just relaxing, chilling out. And it was a voice outside of me.
I'm a bit worried here.
Well, yeah, okay.
You laid on the bed hearing female voices.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, I was laid on the bed and I was just drinking a tea, nothing in mind. I was okay, and then a voice outside of me, to my right side, my right ear here, and it was just above a whisper. And I think what it was, because I've been dabbling into, I've been going to people's houses and helping try to move spirit on and bits and bobs through my life and helping people. And this female voice just said to me, "Love is the only way home." That was it.
Beautiful.
And maybe I was trying my hardest I was thinking maybe what did she mean by saying that to me? Love is the only way home. Well, why just say it? She didn't say nothing else, just that. So
we're going to get that.
Maybe she was saying is
printed on a t-shirt, aren't we?
Possible, yeah, especially with back as well. So I think she was saying is no matter what I do in my life, and if I can try and help people and get some truth information out there, no matter what I'll do, I'll be okay.
That's beautiful. I got a little too misty when you said that, because my wedding song had almost the identical lyric in it. And I say my husband is a composer and songwriter, and he wrote a song for his sister's wedding, who married a few years before us. And I love it so much, and I love his sister. I used it as my wedding song. And in the bridge, I'm trying not to cry because I'm getting so sentimental.
Okay.
In the bridge, it's called Stay Forever, the song is called. And the bridge of the song, because my sister-in-law is a historian, and she says, I've been looking for a way down in these dusty pages. I keep turning every day. I came across a poem written by the ages, and it says, if you can love, you can find your way home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so this lady, I don't know. I did not see the lady. I couldn't see her. I just heard the voice in my ear, and she was next to me, and all she says is LOVE is the only way home.
Wow.
That's what she said. And it made, I thought, what? I was looking, I couldn't see any, I didn't see her, I just heard the voice.
Was your
kept me up for quite a bit.
I just want to know, was your husband inspired to write that particular lyric in?
Yes, he wrote yes, absolutely. He is as a as a songwriter, as a composer, it's that to me, that's exactly the same thing. Art is intuitive work. It's spirit work. It's spiritual work. So yes,
the muse, isn't it?
Yes, it definitely was. Yes, a muse music. Absolutely. When did that happen, Andy? How long ago?
About 2 years ago.
Wow.
2 years ago. Yeah, just over 2 years ago. And I'll say I was just laying on the bed, and it just came again. It just strange.
That's
but
beautiful.
sometimes, I wake up in the morning, I hear somebody call my name. It's always female. It's never been a male. It's always been a female.
Mm-hmm.
Saying Andrew, and then I wake up, I can't see anybody, and that's it. But that was about 2 years ago, and it stayed with me ever since. It must have means. I think it means whatever I do in my life, whatever I inspire to do or to be, you'll still go home.
Yes.
Because, that's it, and it's fantastic. Again, I believe in guides. I've got my own guide, my protective guide. He's he showed himself when I was little. He's called White Wolf. He looks after me very well. I go to some places which aren't very nice, so he always asks White Wolf to be with me, and I do. And I know he's with me. I've been pushed, I've been pulled, I've been tugged, but I haven't been attacked. Again, if I go into any place, I always get asked for protection all the time. Ask for protection before I go to the building and to any place.
And White Wolf, do you think is White Wolf a formerly human, or is White Wolf?
I think so. Yeah, he's again. I had a few dreams as I was little, and them dreams you used to have where you used to dream, and then you think you woke up, but no, you're still dreaming. I had quite a few of them.
Yes.
But White Wolf was always on my bed, laid there,
like a lucid dream.
Yeah, kind of lucid dream. And then I woke up.
Or an astral, maybe.
Yeah. And then I woke up, and then I thought I'm awake. And then I used to see him walk back past my bed, and then I used to wake up again. So it was, and then as I grew older, I just knew I could sense him, and my bedroom is full of Native American Indians. I know everybody's got a Native American guide. It's the kind of thing, but I know but I know one of my past life, I was a Native American. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got many very, very special medium friends, very good psychics.
Yes.
I think one time I went into one of their houses. She went nuts because she said all she could hear was pow, wow, 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 pow, wow, wow, all the way around me. So I thought, it's not my fault. They came in. I didn't invite them. They just came in. So, but yeah, it's really good that to know that you've got a guide who can look after you and you protect it, and just trust.
I agree.
The thing is, you've got to trust. It's kind of magic. It's kind of if you can trust and really think that guide's there to protect you, nothing can touch you. Nothing.
Absolutely. Building that relationship building those relationships, I should say, really has made it expanded my ability to be able to experience, realms of spirit, because they're right there, and it's them, and you feel them, and they're really beautiful relationships. We do have a call, but Jarvis, I want to tell you, I just emailed you a link of that song. If you're able to pull it up, maybe we can end the show with it. I emailed it to Tony. Yeah. Can't reach it. The name is called Say Forever. It's on my SoundCloud. Say Forever. Say Forever. Jarvis and I are doing a little on the spot. I'm interested production. Should I send it to you, Jarvis?
There's no such thing as coincidence. Everything happens by design. That's what I say.
My husband's the artist. It's on SoundCloud. I'm going to put it on my Facebook. Maybe you can grab the link there. All right. So let's go ahead and take a call. Hi, you're on the air. Who's this? Hello.
Good morning. This is Virginia. How are you?
Good. Bridget, how are you?
I'm good. I love listening to your show every week, and I'm going through a sort of an enlightenment period of my life, and seeing the number 55 everywhere I go. And I know it's a message from my guides that I'm actually in your intuitive intensive course as well.
Thank you.
So a lot of things are shifting for me.
And 55, I will tell you numerologically, 55 is the number of adventure and change, but it's also the number of freedom. If you look it up, you may not see freedom as much, but some people don't really mention 5 to be freedom. But I tell you, as a life path 5, that freedom is what 5 is kind of ultimately about. What 5 wants, because the reason it wants adventure and it wants change is because it wants to feel free, and it continues to want to feel free. And of course, when something is doubled, then that's double resonance. And we have Andy, who is also a psychic medium, and Lee, who doesn't profess to be a psychic medium, but clearly he is with all of his sightings and all of his seeings.
He will do soon.
Unwilling, and
we will know soon.
And how do you feel, gentlemen? And do you have something to offer Bridget about her 55 and the enlightening that she's going through?
Not sure about the 55 for myself, but I would like to know if she's had any dreams about teeth.
Dreams about what? I'm sorry.
Dreams about teeth, involving teeth in any aspect of teeth, maybe teeth falling out or.
No, but my teeth have been kind of sensitive the last couple of weeks, which is interesting.
Well, there you go. That's a hit.
One of the, teeth sort of signals like a new beginning, especially dreaming of teeth. So, just could just be the start of a new chapter in your life, maybe something that you wanted to do for a while. You can just do it, grab it and do it.
My take on it is that if you think your guide is close, talk to him. Mm-hmm. Talk to him, say hello to him, because all they love to is to talk to you. All you got to say is, welcome, who are you? Just to ask him his name. He'll give you his name somehow. Mm-hmm. I talked to a couple of guides, and they love being, called upon all the time. And, once a guide comes in your life, I think it just changes completely changes. Things start to happen that, it's amazing. But you get some people who are a bit, blinkers come down, and the guides are knocking on their head, and they want to, try and give information they don't want to listen. But the guides love to interact with you and want to help you. I think it's part of your journey. It's a hard place, this Mother Earth anyway. It's a classroom. It's a very, very hard classroom, and they're there to help you to plug along. This is what they're for. And a guide comes into your life, if he can make any difference or put you on another path, it's they love it.
Yeah,
they love it.
Yeah. Thank you. It's I actually put my notice in at my career. I'm a teacher, and I work for administration, and I'm feeling a higher calling, and I am taking that leap, and I'm thinking of working with some kind of life coach to help get some of my ideas, some clarity around what it is I need to do. But there is this definite acceleration of purpose that's happening right now. So it's a little overwhelming, and I am trying to really learn to connect with my guides. And I think that right now feels a little fuzzy and foggy for me. So that's a whole new thing that I'm starting to learn how to do with, taking Tricia and Crystal's course here.
Well, good luck.
Yeah. Good luck. They will show themselves.
Thank you.
They definitely will. And I was just reminded this morning, I was thinking about the time when I think probably basically where you are in your growth, Bridget. And so it's interesting that my guides or your guides were coming to me and saying, remember that time, remember what that felt like. And I was remembering that it was like overwhelming, exciting, frustrating, all of that, because it was new and it just felt like there's so much to learn and experience. But you get on pace in a way that feels very comfortable. And I think one thing that can help to lengthen Andy's advice about the guide is just one guide, or you get him and say, can I have a master guide come forward? And whatever name pops into your head, don't judge it. Like, it could be Jane. Don't think, well, that's not very mystical and cool. It could be a very, very important reason why Jane is the name that you get, because you never know. She could be someone that you historically experience, or just at some point you may find out that name and everything about her is perfectly tailored to exactly what you need. So just take it simple. It all fills in a very natural pace at some point. But congratulations.
I hope it's sort of, the waters are a little bumpy now, but I think I just need to relax into it and just keep listening to you, because I always hear some little bits of love in there. And also thank you guys for coming on the show. I've loved this. Today was great. And Tricia, you're amazing, and I do love you.
I love you, Bridget. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Have a good day, guys.
Take care now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
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 And so, Andy, you said Lee will find out soon. So you feel that Lee is heading to some sort of...
That's definite. I've told him 2 times. He won't listen to me, but he will. Eventually he'll get there. And it's usually, even before we come here, we make it's kind of not a written contract, but it's kind of a contract, for your life. We don't hit hits we're supposed to hit. But, the guides will say, we'll come in at a certain place, we'll come in at a certain time, we'll come in at a certain time. So there are doors when the guide comes in, and maybe it's not up to us to recognize the guide when it comes in. I mean, I'm so 1,000% sure that my guide has been there since I came on here, on Earth. Sure. So, some guides come in later on, but I've seen. Again, it's hard to other people's lives and where they're going to go. So. But I feel with Lee, he's going to open up soon. He will. Mm.
Well, you've already had clairvoyant experiences, not just clairvoyant, but to where even the physical senses were orienting to the spirit seeing and hearing. That's pretty. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I used to play. Again, Tricia. Honestly, these was females. I don't know what it was of females, but again, I used to tell my mothers, and my mother, okay, whatever. And I used to go to my bedroom, and I used to see them on the wall. Big, huge faces on the wall, maybe 3 or 4 of them. And I used to play with my plasticine, I used to make food, my fish cake, and they used to laugh at that with me. And, I thought it was normal. I think there was a loony at the time. I thought it was normal. But
sure. After
a certain while, they disappeared. And then this is when I started to get the Achievers ones at night time, coming through. And it did make me laugh a bit. But after this, I mainly get mind now. I can see them through my mind. They show me pictures. They show me houses. They show me areas of whatever. And sometimes I can hear voices. Not very often, but I can see the pictures and get the names. They come. So
yes.
But they.
Can I just? I just want to make a quick point about that UFO that I saw, and the reason that I think it was an alien spacecraft. The way I say that is because it seemed like it was tuning in to us. It was presenting itself to us. It had no reason really to appear where it did, other than the fact that we was looking at it at the time. So it's almost like it, if you want to say, read our minds. But
the only UFOs I have seen, and again, the clearest one I've ever seen was when I was going through a really bad time about 5-6 years ago, and I was really in a bad way. I was down, and I didn't know where my life was going. And I looked up in the sky, and I said, if they just give me a sign that I'm going to be okay, I'm going to get through this. And all of a sudden, I'd see a white cube right high in the sky, and this cube was going 1 2 1 2 1 2 all over, dashing, and it just appeared. It just like blinked in, and it blinked out.
Wow!
It wasn't a draft. It was just like a white cube, but it just blinked in. It moved around a little bit, showed it stopped, and it just blinked out. So I thought, well, okay.
Because they use some, I don't know how to describe it exactly. I've heard it described how they use dimensionality in order to basically be to travel, but essentially I think to dematerialize and rematerialize, much like what they did in Star Trek when Scotty would beam them up. They would dematerialize and rematerialize on a different plane, basically. And we're moving that way. Yeah.
The movies put out so much truth.
That's true.
If you know what you're looking for, you can find it.
Yes.
These holodecks are quite good as well. So.
And actually, it's really interesting. Lee, when you just were talking about the UFO, and you said tuning, and I want to give you this validation that my guides were already telling me to talk about tuning. So you were picking that up, and you're picking it up from Spirit as well. And the reason is because, and literally in specific to you, and when we're talking to Bridget, is that if you just hold an intention and then be open to allowing your tuning to adjust, that's actually what perception is, what spiritual perception is. And so then you started talking about tuning. And that's how I actually talk about being able to tune to do. It's a big part of my work is to help people to tune to whatever realms that they feel connected to. So because I basically connect with mediumistically and with nature and and of course archangelic and all the whole spectrum. And some people are just really interested in doing mediumship work, meaning like working with people's past loved ones. But anyway, and of course I work with animals as well. So again, if you just hold that intention and the interest, then the heart does the rest, and the spirit knows how to do that tuning. That's just all it is. It's like tuning a radio. So yeah. It's very exciting. Well, we're actually almost out of time. So why don't you let folks know how they can get in touch with you, or how to find your podcast?
Yep.
Yeah, well, the podcast is available everywhere that podcasts are generally available, iTunes, and it's just Realm of the Supernatural Podcast. The website's the same, realmofthesupernaturalpodcast.com. And obviously the Facebook.
Facebook, of course, yeah. Come onto the group and say hello to us. And, we do quite a few topics here, don't we?
Indeed, yeah.
A few,
You don't be shy. If you come on Facebook and you want, we're there, you can personal message us. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
So.
I almost forgot, again, we're almost out of time, but you did want to talk about the Aetherius Society too. I mentioned that at least.
Yeah, the Aetherius Society, again, is another society. If people can check it out, they are very close to my heart. Again, if it wasn't for this gentleman, Leslie Baker, I wouldn't be sat here now. He's a member of the society, and I've been researching, and I've met the people as well in the society, and they're just amazing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. This is the man. This is the master, Dr. George King. The truths, and at the end, we look into at school and everything else the physics. This man gave us the metaphysics, the truth. Of the truth of why we're here, what we're capable of, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes.
But we're more powerful than we think we are. But check it out. It's very close to my heart. So thank you, Tricia.
And I'll tell, in case you're listening, it's spelled AETHERIUS Society. I'm excited to check it out. So thank you for sharing that. I look forward to that. Well, it has been just wonderful having you two on. I hope you'll come back again another time. I would love to have you.
Yeah, if you can have us back on.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Definitely. I'd love to hear. I feel like you both have so much more to share, wonderful experiences. And of course, you could even talk about some of the things that you're learning about from the people that come on your show and the different topics that you're experiencing.
Fantastic people.
Well, thank you again so much for coming on. Oh, goodness, we just had some... A light just went out in the studio.
There you go.
They don't want you to go.
I don't know. We're all connected, so say give us an extra 10 minutes off.
Right? I know. Who knows what's going to happen?
Going
going to blink out something else. Again, it is Realms of the Supernatural podcast with Andy Macca and Lee Solway. Thank you so much for coming on Charmed Life today, and we love to connect with you again.
It's been a joy.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening to Charmed Life today. I want to remind you of my new Patreon profile, and that is patreon.com/Tricia Carr. Of course, my website is triciacarcharm.com. Yeah, and we're going to play. If you want to play the song and do the normal outro, that'd be awesome, Jarvis. All right. So you guys are going to hear that song that my husband composed for his sister's wedding, but also for our wedding. I claim it myself, too. So shout out to my sister-in-law, Lisa. I love you. And thank you for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are. Is it happening? There we go.
Let the rivers run, let them run like wildest horses through me, with the love undone. Let them wash my story lands while I open all my senses, lay my fences down. In a defenseless moment, my courage is found. Say forever, I'll say forever.